I'm Matias, I'm the founder of PR Lab. We're one of the leading tech PR firms, helping companies grow from all over the world. And welcome to our YouTube channel where we discuss everything about doing PR in the digital era. I'm really excited to have this quick, intimate session with you to discuss how to prepare for a next PR job interview. I hope you are as excited as I am, and let's dive right in. So as the founder of a PR firm, I'm constantly interviewing candidates for different roles across the organization, such as internships, assistant roles, executive roles, director roles, VP roles. And as you can imagine, we typically see a lot of CVs, we read a lot of motivation letters, and we also meet a lot of people on a daily basis. So I have a lot of tips to share with you about what would make you land that next PR job. I have split it in different tips and tricks for different seniorities of different roles. But there's always one important tip that applies to every single person, irrespective of which role or what seniority you're applying to. And that's to research the company that you are applying to. You will be surprised by the amount of people that apply to jobs at our company that do not understand what makes us different, what do we do, what type of clients or companies do we work with. And that's simply because they didn't spend enough time just researching us, going into our website, reading some case studies, taking a look at what type of clients do we work with, or who works within the organization, where we are based, and so on. So there's a lot of questions that from the get-go, we can tell if someone has researched the organization or not. So always research the company that you are applying to that has invited you for an interview. If you're applying for a PR role, then it's also really important that you take a look at what type of media presence do they have, because it's really nice when a candidate's actions, activities, or things that we have done in the past that typically shows that they're interested in the role and they have understood a little bit of what makes the company different or what are the opportunities to improve and so on. So my suggestion is to always also look at the media presence of the company that you're applying to. Which leads me to my next point. We get hundreds of applicants all the time. So if you want to land that role, my advice would be to try to go the extra mile. And with this, I don't mean to do free work, but try to already come prepared with some ideas or things that you could do to help the company shine. For example, my first PR job was basically a PR internship. I had no experience, so I thought, okay, well, I'm competing with hundreds of people that have zero experience. What I'm gonna do then is to come to the interview with a PR plan. So I made a PR plan of things that I thought would be nice to implement, such as a particular campaign or a thought leadership article that we could write for a certain publication, etc. And that got me the job. And the hiring manager was very honest with me. He's like, you are the only candidate that did this. And everybody else just came to the interview and just answered the questions, but you came prepared, and that actually showed us that you really want this role, but that you're also very proactive. So proactiveness is really important as well. And it didn't take me much time to be honest. I only spent 1 hour building that PR plan, but that made a difference. Another thing that you should do in your PR interview is to highlight your relevant experience. And why do I say relevant? Typically, people like to mention every single thing that they have done in the past. And there's a lot of activities or things that you have done in previous jobs that are simply not gonna be relevant for this one. So only focus on the things that you have done in your previous roles, but most importantly, the outcomes of those activities. What have you helped the company achieve thanks to your contributions? What were the results of those activities? Did you help the company save money? Did you help the company make money? Did you help the company grow, enter a new market, get leads, clients, partners, employees? What were the outcomes of those activities? That's something that typically C-level people really care about and pay attention to in candidates. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of us at least are using artificial intelligence for our day-to-day activities, and that's completely fine. However, it's also really easy to tell when a motivation letter has been written by AI or a CV has been written by AI. So if you're gonna use AI to write your motivation letter, make sure that it sounds like a human wrote it, because that's also something that doesn't sit really well with hiring managers when they see that this was just a copy paste of ChatGPT. That shows that you also care about how you come across. Now we're getting to the end of the video, but I don't want to finish this video without sharing a few more tips with you. Take a look at the competitors of the companies that is going to be interviewing you, so you can actually identify opportunities for them to stand out. If we're going to be working in PR, we're typically going to be taking care of the reputation of that organization. So it's really important that you also understand the landscape, the environment that this company is in. How is the industry like? Who are the key players? niche? You know, what are the conversations happening in that space? If you're applying for a role in a PR agency, it's equally as important then to research the active clients that the company has, the active campaigns. Something else that a lot of candidates don't do, but it's also in a sense a bit of a red flag, is when a candidate doesn't ask any questions. You're applying to a job where you're going to spend a lot of time working in. So I'm 100% sure that you have questions to ask, or you should have questions to ask. When a candidate doesn't have any questions, it's a little bit of a red flag for us, because it makes us feel like the candidate is not really interested or hasn't really spent that much time thinking about their day-to-day activities. So one question that you could ask is, how am I going to be measured? Do you guys work with OKRs, with KPIs? How do you set goals? How often is my performance going to be assessed? Is it like quarterly performance reviews, yearly performance reviews? Is there a HR system where, you know, we can give anonymous feedback to each other or not? That will give you an indication of how open or not that culture is, and also how do these people like to work and how do they measure progress and results. Asking those type of questions show that you are, in a sense, selective about the place that you want to work in. Also will give you a good understanding if that's a good place for you to work in or not. Also, another question that I really like when people ask me is, what would make me a good employee? How can I stand out? How can I shine in this organization? What are you looking for in candidates? And that typically opens up a lot of conversations, and also will give you a good indication of what type of people they're looking for in that company, you know, and whether you have the necessary skills or not to stand out. Those were some of the tips. I have way more tips to share with you, but this is a short video that we just want to make for you. If you have any questions, drop them here in the chat and we will answer them with more tips. Follow us. We post weekly, really educational videos about working in PR, tips and tricks, and so on. So follow us on YouTube, and I see you in the next video.